Okay, so we have the Persian Gulf military buildup by the United States really getting out of control. Is war with Iran imminent? Let's find out. Hi everybody, Fabian for Liberty, Internet Anchorman TV. I want to talk about this buildup to war, this greater war in the Middle East. That, make no mistake, is coming, all right? War with Iran is imminent. There's no doubt in my mind. Now, a couple of things that I found really interesting in this LA Times article that I'll be talking about now. Before we get into that, though, if you recall just a few years ago in Iran, when President Obama took office, there was major anti-government demonstrations taking place in Iran, right? I mean, they were, for the first time ever, we saw thousands of people out in the streets taking on their theocratic nutbag government and basically saying, listen, we don't want to be run by the Ayatollahs, right? Okay, so they went out, they challenged them, people were getting killed, people were being thrown in jail. I mean, that was some pretty heavy-duty tyranny cracking down on these people that I believe want liberty. They want freedom. That is the natural state of mankind. But President Obama didn't do anything in Iran. Why didn't he? Why wouldn't he if he believes in the so-called Arab Spring, which we've now come to find out was just a bunch of NGOs being pushed by the American government to create destabilization campaigns, why did he ignore Iran? Because in Egypt, he was supporting the protesters. In Libya, he talked about how great it was that a guy lit himself on fire because he couldn't sell food from his little food cart. In fact, he compared the guy who lit himself on fire in Tunisia to Rosa Parks, for crying out loud. But in Iran, he didn't say anything at all. Very interesting, right? Because you would think that if he wanted to deter Iran from nuclear, wanted to contain them for their nuclear weapons that they're so-called building and they're about to blow up the whole world, wouldn't that have been a golden opportunity to have helped just push the rebels there? Not that I'm saying I agree or disagree with that. I'm just saying he's doing it in Libya. He's done it in Tunisia. He's doing it in Syria. He did it in Egypt, but why not Iran? Well, that brings us to today and really the last year, where we've had military buildup taking place in Iran at unprecedented levels. Today we have a squadron of F-22 fighters in the Persian Gulf. We have 2 aircraft carriers. We have 2 army brigades in Kuwait. Not to mention all around Iran we have multiple U.S. military bases. Here's a line out of the LA Times that I think is quite frankly very troubling. Quoting the LA Times, "Some officials are wary that Iran may respond to the tightening sanctions on its banking and energy sectors, including the European oil embargo, by launching or sponsoring attacks on oil tankers or platforms in the Persian Gulf." So that's why they're saying the military buildup is taking place, right? Because U.S. officials are concerned that Iran may strike a oil tanker or something in the Middle East. Now, I don't know about you. I don't think the Iranians are stupid enough to try to attack the United States. I'm never going to believe that, right? Because they know they'll get wiped off the face of the earth, right? Pretty much. I mean, yes, they have a military that could fight back. They could they could cause damage. But when all is done, when the dust settles, I think the American military will defeat the Iranian military. Call me crazy, okay? I don't think Iran wants that confrontation. But their economy has been nearly collapsed by the policies of our central bank and what they've done to their central bank and what all these other countries have done with these sanctions. I mean, they have hyperinflation in Iran. So, of course, the Iranians are in a position where they have to do something. But what are they going to do? They're being pushed into war. Just like the Japanese in World War II were pushed into war when the U.S. cut off oil shipments to Japan. Now, today in Iran and in Syria, we have the Russians sending aircraft battleships to their major port in Syria, which is their only port on the Mediterranean. I told you months and months ago that this was all about the Mediterranean ports in Syria because the Mediterranean is key to all of this. All the oil flows through there, through the Strait of Hormuz. The Russians need a port on the Mediterranean. If you notice, all the destabilization campaigns taking place to date have bordered the Mediterranean. Tunisia, Egypt, all of these countries. Where are we now? The global reset is upon us, I believe. And the global reset takes place always with war. That's not me saying this, that's history saying it. World War I, World War II, the Civil War. Always there's a major conflict. And out of the ashes is a new financial system, a new world order that is created. No wonder all these people, Romney or Obama, are hawkish when it comes to military buildup in Iran. The question is, what will be the event? What will trigger the larger war? Will it be something that happens in Syria? Because Hillary Clinton is warning the al-Assad regime that the sands of the hourglass are quickly, dwindling, or whatever it is she said, I'm paraphrasing. U.S. moving submersibles to the Persian Gulf to oppose Iran as well. The storyline is being set. And then add on all this the Israelis who are telling us that Iranians are close to getting a weapon, or they may already have a weapon. And who knows, they may try to use it. I don't know, but quite frankly, we don't have a dog in the fight. But we certainly have a presence in the Middle East. A greater regional war is coming, and here's what you need to know. War in Iran means oil prices skyrocket to $150 to $200 overnight. It also means that it's not just US against Iran, I believe. There's too many regional players involved now, and too many other global players involved like Russia and China, who just last week had large-scale military operations and military war games with Syria. Russia, China, Syria, showing their support for the destabilization campaigns that are taking place, but now taking a stand, Russia specifically, in Syria. Make no mistake, a war with Iran, although imminent, is not just a war between the US, Israel, and Iran. It is a greater regional war. We've also been told that Iran has its operatives in the United States, and that if we attack Iran, they're going to start to blow things up here in the homeland, here in America. That's very dangerous, ladies and gentlemen, because I see the military training in the streets. I see the military having tanks roll down the street. I see the military urban warfare drills at all unprecedented levels. Even people in the military are coming out and saying, why are they rolling tanks down the street in St. Louis? Makes no sense whatsoever. Unless they know something's about to happen. Unless they know something bigger is coming. I'll tell you what, you need to, again, realize where we're at in history. Because all of this is just noise, unless you can tie it into events similar to it that took place just within the last 100 years, but really within the last 5,000 years. But the last 100 years alone of Western history, we have seen depression, we've seen the crisis, a depression, the war, then the global reset. And we have now the 2008 looming crisis, the panic, the depression, a greater depression or greater collapse or crisis, then we have the war. I believe the great war of the 21st century is upon us. What do you think? Is it upon us? How will it go down? What will be the event that triggers all this? I'm your Earned and Anchorman, Fabian for Liberty. Thank you for watching.